are live. Welcome to another episode of the GYST. When it comes to life, love, and the pursuit of happiness, sometimes you just need a moment to get your shit together. And so do we. That's why we're here. I'm your host, Kay Bellamy, and I'm here with my co-host, Steph.
Hey.
Val's not here with us tonight, but the show must go on. So we miss her.
We'll make it through
here on Wednesday. Yes. So yeah, I hope everybody's doing well. I hope everybody had a great weekend and did something interesting. How was your weekend?
I guess it was good. I'm horrible at remembering what happened a couple days ago. I'm terrible at that. I keep saying when I get dementia, I don't know how anybody's going to know.
Well, I was about to say, I'm going to need you to be careful with that because
I already have record keepers. I have two friends, one from high school. That's my record keeper of everything that happened in high school. And one that is from like mid-30s till now. She's my record keeper because I don't remember anything. You would think I was doing acid or some hard drugs. And I assure you I wasn't because I remember nothing.
Because you don't remember anything.
No.
Okay, cool. So anyway,
but I guess my weekend was good. I'll make it up. It was amazing.
I had a great weekend. It was a long weekend. So I did video shoot for a wedding this weekend. When I tell you the most beautiful wedding you would ever want to see. I'm saying not just from the venue, the bride and groom. They would listen. The most beautiful
kind of over weddings.
And the thing is that they were older.
Okay.
And so there was no tossing of the bouquet. There was no garter. They were like, we're not doing any of that. We're not doing that.
Was it second marriages? Were at least one of them?
Oh, not to my knowledge.
So when you say older, you mean like 80? Or were they
they were like 50.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they were like
and
50.
Neither had ever been married, huh?
I don't know. I have to say I don't know.
Yeah, somebody got one of them marriages they just ain't telling nobody about.
Right. But it was beautiful. Oh my God, it was beautiful. And then I went to my brother's retirement party. So which was awesome. I tell you, Sunday, I couldn't do anything. I could barely lift my head up off the pillow. Yeah, so that was my weekend.
Okay, sounds fun.
But anyway, on the show tonight, 2 words. R. Kelly. What? So we almost forgot R. Kelly was sitting in jail. You knew he was, but the story just didn't go anywhere after that. When he went to jail, he got no bail. We just kind of left that to be. And then all of a sudden the trial comes up and he's found guilty on all the counts.
R. Kelly is like that cousin that we like to forget is around. You're like, oh yeah, he's still around, huh? He's still doing icky stuff. Y'all still ain't letting your kids right? Everybody got that one cousin, and he's it.
I'm telling you, it is. Okay, so let's just talk about the things that were happening. Let's just talk about that for a second. The things that were happening during this time where he had these women in, his home and the testimonies. And I'm saying the video and everything they basically said, it was just awful in a way where, there were underage children in there. There were teenagers in there. There were and underage boys.
Yeah, you're not the boys.
Listen, there was a boy. They said, R. Kelly, a woman came from under the boxing ring, completely nude.
Okay.
And R. Kelly made this young boy and him have sex with her.
Oh.
So,
he was a child? You said underage, so yeah, he was.
Yeah, I think they said he was like 14.
Oh, R. Kelly, you know what?
Listen. You have to be saying to yourself, what?
He's sick. But you know what? I'm going to say this. And I'm not one of these people who just be making up stories after the fact. I remember when R. Kelly came out, I never liked him. He just always
Really?
No, you never heard me talk about R. Kelly. I wasn't stepping in the name of love. No, he always looked icky to me. He always looked creepy and icky and nasty to me. And he just, something about him just didn't rub me right. So when those stories started coming out, I believed every one of them. And it was no skin off my back, because I never liked R. Kelly in the first. He came off as nasty. He really did.
But now, listen, he was gifted and talented in a way that what makes all of this so crazy is because he was so gifted and he was so talented. And and my sister helped me with something earlier when I told her I was talking about this, and she said sometimes people who are high functioning like that, and psychologists, they can't figure out the mental health part of that piece, but because they do this one thing really, really well, just kind of put it in the back of your mind that a mental health issue is actually brewing. But I think both of them, because when I think of R. Kelly, I put him in a line as far as weirdness and craziness. Kanye West, both of them losing their mothers at a young age and just being in this business and becoming these superstars, but having these really close relationships with their mothers. You know what I mean? And losing them. And so I think that sometimes those things manifest themselves, that behavior that's already there manifests itself when you have some traumatic experience.
A lot of people are just an incident away from something. And the other thing about those two, and not just them, but they're the ones front and center, other people too.
Right.
These industries, whether it's, entertainment or sports, they allow certain behaviors because these young people are phenomenal at what they do. They're right. Yeah. Where if they were a normal kid, if he were Bobby down the street, they wouldn't let little Bobby do those nasty things he was doing. R. Kelly didn't just get like that.
He was doing it all along. And people were telling it. I will never forget the story where the parent, their daughter was in there, in his house, and the parents standing outside the house, outside the gates or whatever it was, standing out there trying to get their child out of there. And, and they were saying, well, she's in there on her own free will, blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, how many girls are in there? And yes, this is what the defense was in the courtroom is, why would you stay? Why would you keep doing it? And it's like, really? Really?
No.
I mean, the power of manipulation, you just never heard it. And I get it. As a defense lawyer, your job is to defend him by any means necessary. Sure. I understand that, because the law says it's somebody you have to have legal representation, no matter how bad the crime is.
No matter how nasty and you are, you get legal representation. Sure.
But I'm like, what was, and I can't even imagine. Can you just imagine your daughter being in that environment?
No.
Really?
No, I can't. And I also remember, we all remember when that first tape came out, right? It went across every line and barbershop, and people gave R. Kelly a pass. And we all looked at that and said, really, dude? And still bought his music.
Yeah.
He has been allowed to be who this person that he's become.
Yeah. And the reason and the fact that he got off on the first one with that young girl.
Yeah.
It set the stage for him being able to do it for 10 more years.
Yeah.
15 more years to these girls and these women. Yeah. And the interesting thing is a lot of what they testified to in court was actually on video.
It was on video. I'm tired of our little girls and our women being disposable. I really am. I am so tired of it. These are babies. I don't care what they look like. How banging their body is. I don't care anything about that. These are babies.
It doesn't matter how banging their body is. It doesn't matter about any of that stuff. Yeah. I'm saying to you that he ought to be ashamed of himself for that bullshit that he's done to these women. He ought to be ashamed.
Yep. And you know who should have held him accountable, held him to the fire for that years and years ago? All these men.
And you know what? And here's the thing. So Darnell, who's chiming in on Facebook, he says, we all allowed it. We knew it. He didn't get arrested until the documentary made everyone face it. And he's right.
He's right.
And the problem with that is if they were white, we would not have to wait for the documentary to come out. So he's right in saying we have to own that. We have to own that.
Yes, we have to own it.
As a race, we have to own that shit because we saw this. We saw this young girl in there.
Before anybody knew who R. Kelly was. The fact that these people know who R. Kelly is shocking to me because, and I watch the news and they're like, R. Kelly. I'm like, you don't even know who R. Kelly is. Like, you just know now because of this. We saw this in real time happening. And again, kept buying his music, kept stepping in the name of love, kept, all of that. Wow. And meanwhile, knew what he was doing.
I Believe I Can Fly was the wedding song of the century. And
they were singing it at graduations. His little babies out there singing it. I remember thinking, y'all know we all saw the video, or at least if we didn't see it, I refused to watch it. We heard exactly what happened on that video. We all know exactly, blow by blow, what happened. Nasty cuss.
And then on top of that, to have staff, because they talk about in the articles, they speak of the staff he had that, made all of this happen for them or for him, and how they were controlling the situation on his behalf, and they had to call him daddy. And it's like, you know what? If I have never seen some shit in my life, this would be it.
But
you gotta call me daddy. Come on, dude. Seriously?
Listen, he was crazy. But we've seen it with him. We saw it with Bill Cosby. They may not have been minors, but it was still disturbing and illegal behaviors going on. And just he's Bill Cosby.
But now, so let's talk about one of the real questions of what is it that makes us stay? What is it? And I listened to something when I watched the documentary, which I did see, and I listened to these women, and there's something about that whole, while they know, and all of them knew that what was happening was wrong.
Right.
Knew what was happening was wrong. But I think that we really have to dig to the core of this and try to understand why would they look at this and see it's wrong, know it's wrong, and it's multiple ones of them in there. Is it fear?
I don't know if it's always fear.
Because they're basically saying they were free to go.
Mm-hmm. He wasn't holding, and he said that I'm not holding anybody hostage in here. I think a part of it is as women, and people take advantage sometimes of just who you are,
Exactly.
A lot of times
because Darnell posted on here, wait, I might have to adapt that daddy thing, starting with UK. Let me say this. I told you that the name of this show is called Get Your Shit Together. I'm going to need you, Darnell, to get your shit together. So moving on, you were saying, Stephanie, I cannot with his foolishness.
He interjected. I like that daddy name.
Right. That's because that's all he heard out of the whole conversation.
Right. Click daddy.
Somebody could call him daddy. Really, I cannot. But go on.
But yeah, so I think a lot of times, and whether it's this or women in relationships and all that, a lot of the nature of women is to be loving and nurturing, and we can make a bad situation better, and we can make all of this look good, and you want someone to love you and all of that, and men know that, right? And they take advantage of that. They know what to say, they know how to say it, they know what to do, and especially if you have women who have been missing something in their lives, whether it's, perhaps they never got married and they always wanted, and now you got somebody that walked into their life and they saying everything they want to hear, if he cheats a little bit, I know he loves me. It's just what men do, you know.
But when you get to the part, and I get that, but now where do you draw the line when you get to the part where
some people have no line,
all the nasty shit? Like
some people have no line, because you ever hear the thing about you put a frog in water, cold water, and you turn the pot on, and as the pot warms up, the frog just stays there because he's getting accustomed to it. You can get accustomed to bad behavior, abusive behavior, because you're tolerating it slowly. You're tolerating it. And pretty soon it becomes your normal. This is normal.
I understand what you're saying, but some of this stuff was, and especially if you're free to go. If you're free to go, I'm confused.
I think that's what I'm saying. I think there was something else going on there too. These just aren't your average people like that. Prey on vulnerable people. They don't go pick these strong-willed, women who are going to. They prey on vulnerable men, whether it's boys or girls, men or women. People who are like that prey on people who are vulnerable.
The defense attorneys were basically saying they were fans. They were stalkers.
Okay, you know what?
I'm like, okay, so now we got, because you're a fan or even a stalker, that gives you a right. And listen, I read pieces where, he had a gun on his hip, and he would walk in the room, and the rule was when he walked in the room, everybody had to jump up and kiss him. And kiss him. Like, that was the rule when he walked in the room.
Because daddy's home, I guess. Everybody jump up and kiss him.
Wait a minute. There's one even better. He played basketball and, like a league or some, they were only allowed to clap for him. Listen to me. Listen, I just need to understand, in the minds of women and young girls, what's happening?
So I know someone who was in a relationship once, and she's now out of it because she knew it was, I don't know if she ever called it abusive. I think she probably said it was dysfunctional or something. But he was a control freak like that. So everybody in the house, when he decided it was time to go to bed, everybody had to go to bed. All the lights had to go out. You had to go to bed whether you were tired or not. And it could be any time. He could come home from work. He come home sometimes really tired. It may be 7 o'clock. Everybody got to go to bed. When it was time to eat, everybody had to eat what he wanted to eat, where he wanted to eat. Just a control freak. And he was not R. Kelly.
What you say? And he was not
R. Kelly. So people are putting up with stuff that we don't even, we get mad because, I don't know, he came home for Valentine's Day and he didn't have nothing. You're mad about that. That's nothing compared to what people are going through.
I just don't know, because, and Darnell said one thing on here, they have a fear of loss of position. Because you in a house full of women, because let me say this, Hugh Hefner's Playboy bunnies wasn't really saying Hugh was making them, and I'm not saying that he wasn't, but they really didn't come with the story trying to send Hugh to jail.
No,
they didn't.
They did not.
Listen, and they talked about having fabulous lives in there.
Oh yeah, till he died.
Until he died. So I am confused, and it's a damn shame, because listen to me, if you want to set it up where people are having some fabulous experience and some fabulous life, but why we have to treat our women like fuck?
R. Kelly didn't want anybody else to have that though. He wanted all the attention for him. You're gonna love me. I don't know if he wasn't hugged as a child. I don't know what the issue with R. Kelly is, but he was serious about that. It's all me.
And these women are scarred for life.
And you think about R. Kelly, people like him, and it's not just him, it's just that he's the one who's been found guilty of sex trafficking, like, 99 counts of sex or something ridiculous.
Right.
But enough is never enough. It's never enough. So one woman adoring you isn't enough. All the fans adoring you isn't enough. Your managers and other
right.
entertainer, that's not enough.
All your staff worshiping you.
Your staff at your beck and call. No, he had to have people groveling and basically
on the
being
floor in the ground like young black women. What in the world?
But I'm telling you, I knew R. Kelly was icky. He looked nasty. He did. He had that nasty kind of.
I'm so mad with you. All right, so
he didn't look like he was.
So he gets found guilty on all of these counts, and he still have cases in Illinois and Minnesota he still has to go through.
These are the federal cases now that he got convicted of, right? Yeah.
Yes,
he's never going to see the light of day.
Which was in New York.
All that talent will never see the light of day.
And he'll be crooning in jail, trying to get somebody to sing and write, and trying to get somebody to make money on the outside.
Somebody will marry him in jail.
Somebody or what?
Somebody will marry him in jail. I don't mean a dude in jail. I mean some woman will marry him.
What did you say? I don't mean a dude.
No, I didn't mean like that.
That might be possible.
Oh, I'm sure.
But again, here goes the question. So that he's done all of these things. This is why I'm saying, what do we think in our minds as women? You as a woman know he's done all of these things to women, and you still find him to be
all that.
What?
Yes. But I'm just saying, we say it with R. Kelly, we see it on the street. We see these dudes that just be running through women. You're like, him? What is he? He from pillar to post. So
because we feel like we're the special one, if he chooses me after this traumatic experience, then I really was the one.
I'm the one who made him. I can make.
Hell, you gonna marry R. Kelly after he's done this shit?
Here's my thing. You know how some people you gotta wonder, I don't know, because I don't know where he's been. We know exactly where R. Kelly's been. That's the problem. Ain't none of you can't wash that off, or you can't.
No. And you're right. Somebody will come along and freaking marry him. Someone will come along and marry him. And I'm just like, you have got to be kidding me.
You don't understand him. That was a point in his life that he's just not, proud of. He was going through some things.
And his lawyers had the nerve to say when they came out of the courtroom after the verdict, saying they were disappointed in the verdict.
I bet they were. I'm sure they were. What are they going to say? Yay! But here's the beauty of it. Because they making money, because every time he appeals it, they make more money.
And they're basically saying, oh, it tainted his brand as a and that it forever brands him as a predator.
Yeah.
What?
Exactly.
Okay. And listen, there were 7 men and 5 women on the jury.
Okay.
7 men, 5 women. Okay. He should have, R. Kelly should be put under the damn jail.
How old is R. Kelly now? What's he about? 52, 53, 55, something like that?
Yeah, he's somewhere.
I'm gonna look it up real quick. How old is he? Because he's old enough to be not so nasty anymore.
He has no choice now. He's been sitting in jail since 2019.
He's been in jail since 19?
Since 19.
Yeah, but before that, he was still doing his dirt.
Of course, but he's been sitting in jail because they didn't give him bail this time around.
Okay.
So he had to sit and wait for his trial date.
Yeah, he's 54.
But again, I'm asking about, I really would like to know, like, what are we thinking in our heads when we put ourselves in these predicaments? I get the fame and the start. I mean, okay, initially I get it. But like you said, it's like you put a turtle in cold water and you heat it up and they become accustomed to it and it's all great. So, and I understand that. But I really would like to know if you got the freedom to go, because that right there is huge. Even in this case, if you got the freedom to go, the question really does become, why didn't you? That doesn't mean that, by no means does that make what he did right, because what he did was horrific. But if you got the freedom to go, why did you not go?
But it's a physical freedom.
R. Kelly's 54.
Yeah, he's 54. It's a physical freedom to go. We all know he was in, like, again, the people he picked, he was in their head. Like, I don't think they even thought that going was a real option. Where am I going to go? What am I going to do? I got this man here who loves me.
And the other 45 women.
Yeah, he loves all of us.
Yeah, he loves all of us. But you know what? The thing is that these families were looking for their children and looking to get them out of that house. So where will I go wasn't a question for some of them. It wasn't a question for a lot of them. Like one of those women, she was a singer. She met R. Kelly at one of his concerts backstage, and her parents were with her. And he's like, listen, I will help her get to where, and if you don't know, that trust factor is something else.
Yep.
That trust factor is something else.
It is. I remember that story.
And
how do you feel as a father? You basically gave your baby to this man.
Because you trusted the fact that he would help her to jumpstart something she was.
But look at Aaliyah. She was, they were rolling out together. Everybody knew she was a child.
Yeah.
Her parents didn't pull that back in.
Damn.
I mean, again, R. Kelly has been allowed to do this.
But here's the other thing. So R. Kelly didn't have any guards on the roof. He didn't have any guards at the gates. He didn't have any of this. Why is it that our Black community, especially men, couldn't go up in there and tear that thing down?
I don't know.
And get our women out?
I don't know.
It was R. Kelly. Ain't like it was, Osama bin Laden or something.
I will say this. You know my ex-husband. He'd have torn that house down brick by brick.
Listen to me. I can't even begin to tell you. Like, I can't even begin to. I don't know why we could not go run up in R. Kelly's house.
I don't know.
And the police didn't go in there either.
Because listen, I'm going to tell you something. As crazy as he might be, I'd have had his back. I'd been right there with him. Come on, we getting ours up out of there.
Girl,
we getting them. You go in, I got your back.
They were coming out one way or the other because the smoke became too much.
We're not coming out of here by ourselves.
This is what I'm saying. It was like,
I'm getting mine. I don't care what she say. I'm a hog tie her and drag her. I don't care. Call the police. I don't care what you say.
But I do wonder why we as a community could not go up in there and get our girls.
But you know what? It speaks to the bigger point of what I was saying earlier. So no one said, we're going to go get these women out of here, whether I know them or not. We're getting these women out of here.
Exactly.
We know and we, as a larger community, still accepted R. Kelly as this great and talented entertainer and never held his feet to the fire. About
even the Me Too movement, because they mentioned the Me Too movement and, their support in him being found guilty. But where was it when you knew these women were up in there?
Right.
You knew what was happening. Parents were pleading to get their children out there because they knew what was happening.
Right. And it's bad enough if it's women who are of age, but we're talking about underage kids.
Yes.
It's mind-boggling.
And it doesn't matter if they are of age or not. No woman should be treated that way. I don't care what age they are. I just don't understand why we could not just
But even if, but legally, how was, if they're minors, legally, how were they able to stay in there?
Right.
That's the part.
Right.
I don't, it was like a failure at every level. And those kids got failed at every level.
You come into a courtroom after all of this is happening. Great. You found him guilty. But gosh, so many women's lives could have been saved from being damaged before this. The police went there multiple times and would not go in there when they knew minors were in there.
Did social services ever go in?
No, none of this is what I'm saying. None of this happened. None.
I don't understand it.
I do not understand that. I do not understand that. I don't understand how parents or Black men, all of these organizations, all of these, the child services, all of that, police, lawyers, doctors, Indian chiefs, whatever.
Right. The butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker, all y'all go in there.
Who could not go up in there and get their children?
I know. It's so sad. And that stuff follows you around for life as a victim of it. I don't know how you escape that. It's always a part of you, who you are.
I don't remember Me Too having any protests outside his house. None of that.
Well, you know what they say, when you talk about when it's Black bodies, Black and brown bodies.
Nobody cares.
Right.
Nobody cares.
Right.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing. He ain't coming out no time soon to do that again. And I'm hoping that there's nobody to repeat this, to do it to our Black women, which we can only hope and pray.
Nasty R. Kelly.
That's going to do it for another episode of The Gist. When it comes to life, love, and the pursuit of happiness, sometimes you just need a moment to get your shit together.
He going to have a bunch of moments in prison. He had a bunch of moments to get himself together.
He will have a bunch of moments to get his shit together. Yes. Join The Gist every Monday and Wednesday at 8 p.m. We will be right back here 8 p.m. on Wednesday. Val will be back on the screen, and we will have a whole other topic to talk about. We love you all for tuning in and checking us out. Keep on doing that, making your comments on Facebook. We love you for real. See you on Wednesday.